Hi, it's Eric Coffin from the September 15th Middle Investors Forum in Vancouver. I'm here right now with Mike Williams. He's the CEO of Vendetta Mining, one of the companies I invited to speak here. He just gave a great presentation, but it's nice to have a little short chat and maybe expand on a couple things he didn't have maybe a lot of time to get to in the,
Sure.
Or and maybe deal with some questions, the type of questions I get from subscribers. I mean, I think you started to get even more attention in last season when you were drilling the deep zones, which are the higher grade zinc ones. So far, the bulk of this program, you've been focusing on the shallower, open pit, more lead dominant stuff. I mean, I understand why you're doing that, but I think it's a question a lot of people have is like, why are you guys spending so much time on the stuff that's lower grade?
Well, that's a good question. It's not lower grade per se. The overall grade in the open pit component in a lot of cases is higher than the down dip grade. The down dip grade, though, is more lead dominant. In some cases, it's a 1-to-1 lead to zinc ratio, or we've had some holes that have returned 2-to-1 zinc to lead, which is in some cases when we're talking about a zinc market, which people tend to focus on, they want to see the glitzy zinc grades, which we have hit down there. The thing to remember, though, is our strategy has changed somewhat at Pegmont. Initially, we thought the majority of the potential ore would be in an underground. Right now, a lot of it, in fact, 80% of the resource is in the open pit shells. Now, granted, as we get closer to surface, we see higher lead numbers, but this year we've been able to follow more of the high grade structures, and we've returned on average a 20% higher grade than previously seen. So the zinc is going up closer to surface, as is the lead. Now, at the end of the day, if you look at things, it's what is that value per ton that you get paid for.
Okay.
And generally, I think it's fair to say that open pit tons generally return a better IRR than your underground tons will. So from that point of view, we've gone from hoping to have maybe a 2 or 3 open mine life open pit to right now we're showing 8 years. Now, we still need to do all the economics associated with it and demonstrate that it's going to work at various metal prices, but that's a huge change for us. So we're kind of, it's almost like having 2 wheels turning, and I mentioned that in the presentation, at the same time, but they're at different speeds. We are still trying to increase the overall footprint and global resource of the ore body because it's open literally in every direction, and that includes the underground tons. The challenge, though, is we're adding tons in the open pit, and we make no apology for that. That's what we actually want to be doing, because 80% of the open pit shells is actually on mining leases, which are grandfathered, and they have some favorable permitting associated with them. So what it does, that's where you really want to be focusing on. When we go to finance this to put it into production, that's what the bankers would look at, or I assume if another company was interested in the asset, that's what they would all look at, because you get the quickest return on your investment by the open pit component.
Okay, and looking forward to the next 6 to 9 months, what are your milestones?
Key milestones coming up where we've increased the size of the program. We were going to do 10,000 meters. This year we've increased it to 15,000. Over the next 2 months, we should have 3 or 4 news releases out on both the higher grade zinc areas, what we call Zone 5, and also the open pit shells. You'll see that. In January, we're going to have an updated resource. I think that's going to be critical. That'll really set the stage for 2018.
Right.
Now, if we keep, here's the challenge from a company's point of view. We keep hitting and expanding the size of the ore body until we know how much ore, we can't go into the PEA phase. Right. So I'm thinking we'll probably do some follow-up drilling in 2018, beginning in April, May, and then from there, that'll take us into a PEA. And then to come full circle, I'll be able to demonstrate why we're putting more focus on the open pit component when the market can see the numbers and we can see the numbers. And I think that's when that argument is laid to rest.
Okay. Well, I mean, as my readers probably know, I've stuck my neck out a few times and made the comment that I don't really think you guys will probably be around in a year. So So you're going to have to stick to those milestones and make me look smart. That's your job from here on out, Mike.
Well, or
build it.
Or build it. And you know what? Now that we've got this 8 million tons and we're trying to expand that as well this year, that's critical. And I harken back to that January resource. It's a lot easier for somebody to build, including ourselves. It'll be easier to finance, and it'll certainly be easy to put into production because we'll see what the IRRs, internal rate of returns, that generates. Any more ore that we find in that zone 5 really comes into year now 15, 16, 17.
Right.
So the net present value, when you factor into that, I think a lot of people will start to focus on this ore that we're discovering now, and there'll be an inversion from the market as well. They'll start really focusing on that.
Okay, well, Vendetta is a story that's been working really well, and I think it's probably going to continue to. Check it out.
Appreciate your support.
Thank you.